broadcast network, AFTERBUZZ TV. Over 20 million weekly downloads in over 150 countries, and your #1 source for after-show entertainment.
Katie Johnson.
AFTERBUZZ TV, the destination for TV superfans. Producing after-shows for over 300 of your favorite TV shows. Interviewing celebrities and showrunners. And bringing you behind-the-scenes exclusives. All thanks to E! Entertainment's Maria Menounos, producer Kevin Undergaro, and internet leader Akamai. Now, let the buzz begin!
Hey guys, welcome to AfterBuzz. We're here for another show of Parks and Recreation. And if you haven't already, make sure to subscribe to us on youtube.com/AfterBuzzTV. And you can also follow us and listen to us on iTunes and SoundCloud. Please rate, subscribe, and comment. We love hearing from you guys. I'm Lexie Hammesfahr. I'm your host. You can find me on Twitter at Lexie Hammesfahr. And I'm with the Parks crew.
Hello, what's up? I'm Katie Campbell. You can find me on Twitter at Katie Campbell. That's Katie with 3 E's Campbell.
And I'm Lauren Salaun, and you can find me on Twitter at Lauren Salaun, Salaun.
And I'm Quinn Scillian. You can find me on Twitter at Quinn Scillian, Scillian.
And we have a special guest with us today.
Hi, I'm Kassy, and you can find me on Twitter at KJMUA.
And you can tweet at us with the hashtag ABTV Parks and Rec. So guys, what did you think of the episodes? It was a good match.
I think the second one was better.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
More
I think that was a general
happened.
consensus, right?
Yeah, the first one felt a little uneventful. I didn't take nearly as many notes or feel like as much happened, but still fun. We had a ton of politician cameos, which was really fun to see.
It was.
I think that Amy Poehler does such a good job acting with these. You know, they bring in these political guys who don't do anything, acting like probably ever, except for giving their speeches and stuff. And she makes them have so much fun. They feel so comfortable. You can tell that they're having a great time acting with her, and she makes them look really funny, which is great. Mm-hmm. It must be such a blast to get to work with her.
And I don't think anyone really expected it either, because I think going into the season we expected the usual cameos to show up, but to see John McCain and Madeleine Albright.
I know, some pretty huge names in the political world being on the show, and she even had such a long sit down with Madeleine, like they're old pals or something. So it was a lot of fun to see that.
It was great, but and so April, basically the entire first episode is about her getting the courage to tell Leslie that she wants to leave the government, and Ben and Andy are trying to do something on the side to help her find a job,
because Leslie and April had to go to Washington for a quick trip to kind of make sure that they can keep the money that they were going to get for that national park, and make sure that the national park is the right place for that money to go. Mm-hmm. So that's why they had to leave. And so then while the kids are away, we are going to have them try and sneakily get her a job while she was gone.
And per Leslie's usual personality, she comes up with a whole binder of April's 5-year plan.
She has no idea that April doesn't want to work in the government.
I know. And you could see in April's eyes that she had no idea what to say.
Right. Well, because April's like, I don't want to spring this on her while we're on this trip. Right. We'll wait till we get back settled into the routine of things. But then Leslie's like, oh, I've got your 5-year plan right here, every step from this trip until, 2022 or whatever. And so April's kind of forced to bring it up and talk to her about it.
I think my favorite part, though, was them back home trying to find her a job, and we end up at the accounting firm with Barney.
Yeah.
That was the greatest thing to see him. I love that guy.
I feel so bad for him, though.
I know.
I know. He loves Ben so much.
Ben had to let him down again.
I know. After all the work it took them to get him to consider April as a candidate for the job, he still took it right out from under him again.
But you know what I thought was so cute was how Andy had that little checklist of everything that April wanted in a job, and he would be like, I think this is the perfect job, and got so excited about it.
And it was exactly with the same checklist that April had when she was looking in Washington, which was really cool.
Yeah. Well, I guess it just goes to show how well they know each other over the 8 years.
Yeah.
of like marriage or whatever.
I love them together. I think they have great chemistry. They're just so cute together, and they're opposites, but they're the same in certain aspects. I love it.
I think there was even like a quote from that episode where they're like, April's a really hardworking, really, driven individual who just married a goofball. And it's like, that's exactly what that is.
And we learned something about Ron this episode. He has a lot of brothers.
At least 3.
Well,
it seems.
Who are Bob and Bob? We get a brief moment of his one brother, who is
Don.
And then we see Bob and Bob, and he said he has one brother. Were those his brothers and he lied, or were are they cousins?
He for sure lied. He was lying.
Like, yes, one brother and only one brother.
Yeah.
But that's all we see of that. So it's like, are we going to learn more about Ron's brothers this season?
I don't know. Because then we learned the other 2 brothers' names were Lon and Vaughn. And so they all rhyme with Ron.
Yeah.
But I don't know if we would learn anymore. I kind of liked knowing that side of Ron, though, and his background.
Yeah. And I, for a second, well, this would be jumping into later, but we'll get to it later. But I, for a second, thought we were going to maybe see some of Ron's house later with the whole key thing. Seeing more side of, that more personal home side of him.
We're seeing a lot of the personals of, all of these characters this season. It's like, it's closing a chapter, so we're actually diving in to see, like, oh, they really do care about each other despite all of the things that happen, How are you feeling about the season so far?
I mean, I like it. I think it's, more sappy, but I really can't be mad at it. I love the show so much, and it's regardless of whatever happens, it's always funny. You're always laughing throughout the whole entire show, so I think it's great. It's a good way to end it.
Is there a guest that you want to see in the remaining episodes?
I just want to see Anne. I love Anne. I want Anne to return. I want to see that baby.
We're all still holding out for when Chris and Anne are going to come back and show us their cute baby.
I feel like it's going to be the very last episode. Probably. They always bring back like everyone for that very last finale.
Yeah.
So.
We were kind of guessing that maybe during Ben's campaign or something, or if he wins something big, that maybe they'd come back as a celebration surprise.
I still think we're going to be waiting until the end, the very finale. I don't think they're going to come back before then. I think we're going out with a bang.
I want to see Mona Lisa and
John
Ralphio.
Although we did get to see more Craig this episode, and I'm always so happy to see Craig because he always brings such an interesting
and intense comedy to things.
Yeah, and Craig and Donna are just like such a wonderful little weird tag team.
Yeah,
so funny.
You know who we didn't see this episode at all tonight was Tom.
Tom,
Wasn't there?
Not in either episode.
Yeah.
He must have been busy with something
Lucy.
else.
Maybe on Lucy.
But filming
with Lucy.
Because that is weird for him to not have been part of the job search committee for April. You'd think you'd have some good ideas.
How do you feel, Kassy, about the whole Tom and Lucy getting together?
I really like it. I like it a lot. I think they really complement each other well, and I think it was a great way to like bring her back and how they went all the way to Chicago to go get her. Yeah, I thought it was great. I really like it a lot. Yeah. And their matching outfits. Oh, that was hilarious.
I know. Because I feel like a lot of women would be scared of that, but she's cool with it.
Yeah.
I know. She's the only one who will put up with his little antics.
Yeah, I saw it and I was like, oh, God, I don't know. Why would you wear that? But she gets him. I think that's what's great. Like, they really get each other.
Yeah.
Here's what I kind of thought about April this entire season so far, is she seems like she's the one who's kind of wrapping up every relationship. Like, she's the one who's been having all the sentimental moments with everyone. And so every episode she's had it with one person, I feel like. Like, she did Ron in the last episode and then Leslie in the first one tonight.
And kind of back to Ron again a little bit there at the end. Yeah, I agree. It's an interesting choice for her to be the one to go around and do that. I think maybe that's another way for them to bring it full circle is because, like, she's been the one giving everyone such a hard time for so long that I think everyone kind of wanted a little bit of closure where that's concerned.
Yeah. Okay, so let's talk about, though, a little bit how Andy put on the fireworks.
And the April face mask, if I ever saw anyone actually wearing that, I would literally cry.
If I ever saw that pop out of like the bushes, I would freak out and run. I wouldn't even know. That's terrifying.
It almost seemed like he was going to do it to try and be intimidating, to scare Barney, but he was doing it to like, my skills are explosive, to try and like show that April's cool.
Slightly off base.
He genuinely thought it was a good idea.
know,
right.
But
terrifying.
he ruined his car, but I love the fact that Barney takes Ben's word in the end. And despite ruining his car and scaring him to death, he offered her the job.
The job, or at least offered to consider her for the job.
Right, right.
But April turned down the job again because she finally found what she wants to do.
Which is helping other people find what they want to do.
For the American Service Foundation. So she'll be moving to D.C. I kind of feel like the series is going to end in D.C.
Yeah, everyone seems to be kind of migrating over there.
I just hope that it doesn't end with everybody somewhere, you know, half the people in D.C. and half the people in Pawnee. I don't want that.
I know.
Yeah, I don't want to see everyone have to say goodbye. It's been hard enough already this season. Could you imagine having to end on that note? Oh, it'd just break my little heart.
And I would hate to see the kids, Leslie and Ben's kids, split between two houses and two states.
Yeah, because that's a big deal, Leslie accepting a job in D.C. And she's like, oh, no big deal. We'll just split time between Pawnee and D.C. It'll be fine. This is a great job. Which it kind of got blown over, I feel like, in these 2 episodes. But I bet that's going to come to be an issue at some point.
She's always so Pawnee dedicated.
Right.
She's like diehard Pawnee, so it's weird to hear her be okay with that.
It seems so quick that, you know, she's talking and that job gets offered. She's like, yep, I'll take it. Great. And that was it. So I feel like that's going to come up kind of maybe to bite her in the butt a little bit or cause some problems.
Yeah, definitely.
I think it absolutely will, especially since in the second episode, everyone was talking about how she's the successful one, basically, in the relationship and the marriage.
I thought that was such a good point that, I'm sorry, I'm just going to call her Catherine Hahn, Jen made about being like, you know, if you were just like a dumb, like, you know, housewife, we would just like fill you with Valium and then, you know, put a pin on you and call it a day. But since you're so smart, you're like, everybody's going to be, you know, constantly, you know, worried about you.
And she's so controversial in Pawnee already because, you know, getting thrown out of office and...
Seems like she can never do anything right for those people.
I thought that was an interesting thing about this episode is that she was going to do the primary, you know, and she had people that are saying she should do it, so she's going to do it. And then somebody comes up and the IOW says, you know, you shouldn't be doing this. We're against it. And now they're mad at her. I'm like, either way she goes, she's going to have somebody commenting and saying something and having a problem with it.
I know, I actually think that she's kind of coming to terms with that. Like, she's like, you know, damned if I do, damned if I don't, pretty much.
Because that's kind of been the uphill battle she's been fighting the entire series, is it's never a winning situation for her.
She wants it to be.
So now she just has to, like, be like, I just have to follow my heart and do what I think is right, because, like, no matter what, someone's going to get mad.
Yeah.
Yeah, and as sensitive and loving as she is, she has a thick skin because, you know, you have to with being in politics. So we see that, but she does, you know, she is so tender and sweet.
I know. Okay, so do we want to say anything else about the first episode? Or should we move on? I feel like
April finally got her job.
Yeah, I did think it was a little interesting that with the whole team pulled together back in Pawnee working to find a good job for her, of course it ends up being Leslie and one of her connections that led to April figuring out some type of job that she wanted, because Leslie always knows all that stuff.
It was nice to see the entire group kind of rally around April to help her figure out what her dream was.
Yeah, the guy was like, all her friends, you know, you guys care about her so much to get her this job. She must be kind of special.
Yeah. Okay, so the second episode is called Pie Mary. What did you guys think of that title?
I didn't make the political connection at first. I was like, what is this?
There were so many puns in both of these episodes. I loved it. It was so cheesy and so hilarious. So good.
Kassy, what do you think of it?
I mean, I didn't get it at first, but I thought the episode was good. I liked it a lot. I thought it was really funny with the whole, like, Ben thing. You guys will talk about that in a second, but with the whole Ben thing, I thought it was great.
I thought it was like a really political episode this time. I mean, like, you know, a very, very social, you know,
right.
all sorts of commentary happening in this episode. Like, little digs
I have to say, they brought up a lot of points that I felt like are kind of valid and
I know, stuff that's like super current. Like, you can go on Twitter and look at this stuff right now.
Yeah.
I mean, like, that's, you know, it feels like they wrote this episode yesterday. Seriously.
It was interesting, but basically this whole episode was centered around this pie cook-off, and Leslie
for the wives of the candidates for Ben's job or whatever.
Right.
Yeah.
And the opposing candidate's wife wins every year. And
because she is like Little Miss Susie Homemaker. She's like the perfect candidate wife.
she puts her family first.
Yeah, right. And she like she made one with the sweaters. What was that?
A foundation.
Yeah, one foundation about like raising awareness for bring a sweater. It's goosebump prevention. That's basically what her contribution has been.
Jen called her a bowl of boring.
Yeah. And so Leslie decides that she wants to join it to say that she's going to be more, I don't know, I guess less intelligent.
She just wants to be like a team player, I think.
Yeah. And she gets a huge backlash from the Indiana Organization of Women. But I thought it was funny because she got so excited and she thought she won that award. She had her speech planned.
Pulls the speech out of her pocket, ready to
carries it around.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
And they got mad at her because, that she was going to participate. So then they came up with this idea to have Ben make a pie instead.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
But it wasn't a pie. It was a calzone, obviously.
I knew it was going to be a calzone. It literally said it as before he said it. He just loves those calzones. Yeah. Except for when they backfired on him in the previous season.
Right, when they were doing the tasting for the weddings.
They all got food poisoning.
Yeah, I remember
that. I know.
The calzones betrayed him. But he still made the pie zone.
Yeah, he did.
Pie zone.
Mm-hmm. I thought that the calzone was a good idea, though. It was a spin for him to go and enter that contest.
I kind of wanted to see the pie get judged. I wanted to know how it weighed up next to all the pies. Yeah, we never found out.
Nobody won.
It's safe to say Ben won.
Yeah, he won.
Yeah,
he did win. That was so weird though. That organization that came out and was protesting
the men's rights.
Yeah, the men's rights for he and all those signs that were kind of like Westboro Baptist-y, kind of like. I was like, okay.
Yeah, it was interesting. What do you think about that?
I thought it was hilarious, and I love that guy who was head of it. He was in another movie I've seen recently. I forgot what it was, but he's really, really funny. Oh, he was in The Heat with Sandra Bullock. That's what he's from.
Yeah,
he's the guy in the club. Oh, he's great. I love it so much.
I like how you said club.
Yeah, he was in the club.
In the club,
Dan trying to get at her. But no, I thought it was hilarious. I thought it was great.
Oh my gosh. Well, and at the same time, Gary is in the drain and Donna's about to leave and he's like, well, my wedding ring fell down the drain and then my keys fell.
And Gail,
boy. Yeah,
because Gail's really going to give him the business when he gets home.
Call him the B word.
Which is not even the business, okay? That is such a...
She's going to make me gather all the oranges for our fresh squeezed orange juice. Oh, gosh, I can't even imagine.
Call him bozo.
Yeah. But Donna saw him, sitting at the drain, looking for all his stuff, and she's just like, oh, I got to watch this.
Yeah. Sits down, reminisce, think about all the other times that Gary's lost something and
the burrito in the river incident.
Yeah, and it ended up being such a sweet moment. I loved that with her finally, or somebody, really appreciating Gary and having a good time with him, not just because they're making fun of him, but spending time with him and he's enjoying himself and they're enjoying themselves. So I liked that.
I love that it was Donna because they are such polar opposite people. They really, I think she even said that, we are very different people. If you actually think about their characters, they are as opposite as it gets. And so I think it's really cool that she was the one to give him a little validation.
It was so sweet.
I loved it. Yeah.
And I think that was the most Gary's ever talked.
I was going to say, I don't think I've ever seen a moment with him on the show ever, where someone had a sentimental moment where they were actually appreciating him.
Yeah.
I don't think I've ever seen that.
And she also one, and then it would always kind of fall apart at the end, probably.
She also at her wedding did his name card correctly with his correct name, which was a very sweet moment too. So it's she has as much as she makes fun of him, she has a really soft spot in her heart for him. Who knew?
And then she offered to drive him home.
Yeah,
and
that was really fun.
And then she was the one.
This season is so sappy.
It's so cheesy.
We keep talking about all the things that April did was so sweet, and everything with Donna was so sweet. It's who are we? Who are these people on this show?
Well, we do see Donna in a previous season. They were having the Jerry dinner, and she flipped her Benz around to go to his house for the Christmas party. Mm-hmm. So she was the one who was like, you know what, this isn't right. So she always does have that soft spot, but we're seeing more of it as this chapter is closing.
I think that marriage is softening her up, which good for her.
She could use it.
Yeah. So Joan Kalamazoo makes an appearance again tonight, and they're talking about with the guy from the men's group about feminism and how Leslie, and they're debating whether or not Leslie, I guess, is a good wife
Right.
in the campaign. What did you? I thought that was a kind of an odd.
Yeah.
It was really weird. You're right.
I just think it's like a way to also put in characters like Brandy Max. I love she's like, Leslie and I are connected, because they always are. It's ridiculous.
I know. Brandy's always trying to like be on Leslie's side, and Leslie just doesn't want her there at all. She's like the worst publicity you could get for Leslie is Brandy.
But I love to see Joan. I wanted to see more of her.
Yeah, some more funny lines from her.
What did you think about her like talking in the very beginning of the season when we finally got to see her and she like went off the deep end?
I just think she's funny herself, but I just thought I don't know. I want to see more of her as well. I feel like we're probably going to see more of her maybe towards the end, like when everything is coming to a close.
Yeah.
But she's so funny. Oh my god!
So
Every
good.
time they show her, I'm just like, I die.
She's been such a like silent kind of strength of this whole show, I think. Mo Collins.
I love that scene, and I think it was a few seasons ago, but where she gets drunk with Tom and Ron at lunch. And then they
she
go to her
like
house.
actually tries to sleep with Tom, and he's like, "This was really fun." Like we were like pretending.
And he's like, she knows how to decorate a bedroom, and it's all portraits of herself.
It's so funny.
But and Donna gets someone to open the grate and gets all of Gary's old things that have fallen down.
And his heart medicine
yeah,
that apparently was down there.
Yes.
and bring some oranges.
Yeah.
Yeah, he needed that heart medicine. I mean, what was he in the hospital for those couple weeks? Remember? He briefly was
just a
like,
little heart thing, but I'm okay.
Oh yeah,
How long did he lose that medicine for?
yeah.
yeah.
Don't really feel like we should.
And she calls him. She calls him the B word, buddy. So sad.
I like kind of got
so
teary-eyed.
sweet. I know. Oh,
I feel like I get
Donna.
teary-eyed at every episode now. Like at the past couple ones, it's just so emotional.
I know.
So good.
Oh, did you guys think the whole time that Ron cared about his house key? About April getting
No,
his house key
I
for
think he
him?
was just excited about the puzzle.
Yeah, I thought he was more excited about like the actual just hunt for it.
Well, I mean,
don't
I
think he
didn't know
actually
there
cared.
was going to be a scavenger hunt. I thought he was just like, okay, that's fine. Like, give me that key. And right away, I was like, okay, there's something up with this. I thought at first that Ron was just like trying to mask his emotions that she was leaving. So he was like trying to be like, okay, well, just give me the key. I didn't realize it was going to turn into this whole thing. I thought that was like so funny and weird.
Yeah,
I love
One
how
last scavenger hunt for Ron.
I love that he loves those like that. It's so funny, and he couldn't even solve it. He thought that was amazing.
I thought he had the key at first. I thought he
did?
Like it was
Me
going
too.
to be
where
a
it
trick.
was. Yeah.
Yeah.
Like he just wanted to like spend that time
Test
with
her out.
Yeah, something like that.
and then we're gonna have to wrap soon. But the press conference where Ben lets Leslie talk, I thought that was great, and I thought it brought up very valid points, and I loved that they both supported each other.
Yeah.
It was really sweet. And just a little bit of funny, which is what we needed, I think.
And they have such a good partnership, and I know we mentioned this earlier, but this episode had such strong messages about, you know, gender rights and those sort of things, which was really important and fun when you can do it with a little bit of comedy, because, you know, people listen to that.
Yeah, he's like, nobody ever asked me where the kids are. By the way, where are the kids?
Yeah, she's like, it's fine, babe.
Yeah, it's fine.
And then finally, April realizes where the key is, and she buried it under a tree, where that reminded her of Ron, which was again sweet.
It's strong and quiet.
I was hoping it was a dog thing. I thought it was gonna be like champion
thought it was champion.
or something like that. Because it was like woof woof was the clue.
It was because the
But Champion came later.
Yeah, you have a point. So.
Right. All right, guys. So where can we find you? Because we got the music playing.
Oh, I can hear it. You guys can follow me on Twitter at Quinn Scillian. That's Scillian. You guys can also follow me on Vine at the Quinn B, or on Instagram at QU_Instagram.
And you can find me at Lauren Salaun, that's spelled Salaun, on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, YouTube, everywhere.
You can find me on Twitter at Katie Campbell. That's Katie with 3 E's, and Instagram at Katie Campbell 13.
And where can we find you?
Oh, you can find me everywhere at KJMUA. That's KAYJAYMUA.
And you do some YouTube stuff.
Yes, and my YouTube's a different name.
Hey, tell us about it.
Yeah. Oh, I do YouTube videos. I special in special effects, so that's like my thing. I love it. I love the gore and the blood and all that nasty stuff.
And you're doing a special for Valentine's Day, right?
Yeah, I just did one. So I did a Valentine's Day tutorial, but it's kind of got a twist on it. So
And what's your YouTube channel again,
my
so
YouTube
everyone can
channel
find you?
is Official Killjoy with 2 Y's.
Nice.
Ooh, go check out that Valentine's Day.
Yeah.
Sounds
Yeah.
fun.
Yeah.
Totally.
A little different, yeah.
Pick the right date for that look.
And you can find me on all social media at Lexie Hammesfahr. Thank you, everyone, for tuning in to the Parks crew for this week. We'll see you next week for episodes 11 and 12.
From executive producers Maria Menounos, Kevin Undergaro, Phil Svitek, and the entire AfterBuzz TV staff, we would like to thank you for listening to the AfterBuzz TV network. To watch or listen to other after shows and post comments or questions, be sure to visit AfterBuzzTV.com. I'm Sir Richard Wentworth, and this has been a presentation of AfterBuzz TV.
Buzz you later.
The views expressed herein are those of the hosts only and do not necessarily reflect the views of AfterBuzz TV or its owners or principals.